All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Josh from Noncompliant America. We are here today at the Western Liberty Network Conference, and the main agenda is Take the Offense. Today is January 31st, 2026. We're at the Holiday Inn in Columbia River Hotel in Portlandia. And we got a lot that we want to discuss. We got a lot we want to talk about in regards to what this conference is, what it stands for, what it's about, the entire premise of it, which is basically to help incoming political candidates get organized and be able to navigate the political space, to have a chance to be able to represent advocates and constituents within their community. So it's really interesting. They have a lot of breakouts happening throughout the day. They have designing winning campaign plans. They're collaborating with a bunch of people. I'm not sure. I'm not participating in those breakouts, but it's definitely very interesting. Now, the main thing that I want to talk about first and foremost, which I find interesting in regards to this event, is this is supposed to be a grassroots advocating event that is supposed to help pretty much anybody that is interested in pursuing a political career, whether that be school boards, whether that be governor, whether it be county commissioner or mayor or anything else. The entire premise of Western Liberty Network is to do that. Now, in that, there's supposed to be a governor debate with most of the governors that are going to be here and participating in this active primary. And so we are going to listen to them, give them an opportunity to speak, talk about what their future plans are, what the grievances are with the state of Oregon, and how and what their plans are to help us and represent us, leading into the primary, getting into a point where it's going to be a knockout, drag out. We've had Dudley enter the race. We have Ed Deal, Christine Drazen, Danielle Bethel, and David Medina, obviously, has put his hat in the race. Now, the interesting thing is I think David Medina is the biggest underdog. He's not, he doesn't have any big donors behind him, like Terry Emmerich or Nike, Nike, who's backed behind Dudley, or the deep state money or the dark money or the traditional RINO money with Drazen. He's kind of doing it on his own, but he does have something that a lot of those guys don't have, and that is the online platform, the youth, and the recognition. So of all that, they actually did not allow him to be here and to speak as a governor candidate, which I think is pretty hypocritical, and it's sad. I'm not sure exactly who within the organization has made that decision. But it's a really sad thing, considering the fact that Oregon's been struggling for decades, and we need some youth, we need some fresh faces, we need all the things that David will bring to the table. Now, as I said in my last pass, I don't think that he would actually be governor, potentially. I don't think he's quite there yet, but he is going to bring a lot of energy and good use to the table, which is exactly what we need. We don't need the glad-handing BS, business as usual, backdoor operations, which seems like that's how and what's going on right now. So we'll see as the day plays out. I've reached out to him. I've tried to get him to come. I think it would be phenomenal for him to show up and show face and show real leadership in the fact that, we don't want the infrastructured system, because we've shown time and time again, anytime we've ever led any type of support to the Republicans that we get behind, they kind of follow suit and get back put into the hamster wheel, and essentially nothing happens. So I think Medina would be a great attribute in breaking that up, changing the debate, changing the political space, which is exactly what we need, especially given that the entire premise of this conference is called Take the Offensive, right? That would be the offensive position, is to put him on the stage, have real debate, have conversation, bring a lot of youth to that. So pretty disappointing so far being here. Kind of wish that would happen, but, who knows? We never know. It's still early in the day. We're not sure in regards to how that's going to play out. Now, one of the other things that I really wanted to talk about was things that happened yesterday with the silver markets and the economy and what that signifies with what's going on. There's also a lot of tensions happening with Iran right now. As you know, there were some fleets that were sent to the eastern seaboard in the Iran area, and there's a lot of potential that the conflict might be arising this weekend. So just hold on to your hats and get ready for that. In regards to the silver markets, there was a massive dip and decline into the markets yesterday, and it sent the world by storm. It's something that the economists we've never seen, but we know that there's a lot of shakeup happening. Everybody's blaming it on the Fed chair. I don't think it has anything to do with the Fed chair. I think that's a natural excuse. I think they're using it to create chaos. As we are in the fourth turning, there's going to be a lot of shakeup. And holding and obtaining precious metals is still, I think, one of the best things that you can do, despite what all the critics, the Billy Kramers, say online about it or anything like that. I think it's still one of the best things that you can do. And there's a golden opportunity right now that if you do and are and have been hesitating or waiting for the dip to happen, it is now a perfect time. Now, that's only if you can get on out-of-market precious metals areas. You won't be able to purchase anything until Monday. I think there's going to be a lot of shakeup and things within the markets between now and then. I think tomorrow, when the markets open on the global markets, as they always do on Sunday, a lot of things change and a lot of things can transpire. So anyways, long of the short, we're going to be watching that carefully. Again, if you do have an opportunity to do that, I do think, I'm not a financial advisor, don't take my advice, but I do think there's a long play happening and a much bigger global play that's going to be happening. So as you know, in the silver markets in Beijing, there's roughly, they're going for about $147 an ounce, which I think is very telling considering it's only $86 here. Biggest spread in history, biggest thing. But I do think that they're collapsing the paper markets and bringing it closer down to an 8-to-1 silver to gold ratio, or 1-to-1 as far as the dollar goes, and doing a full reevaluation on that. So very, very important to stay tuned for that. We'll see what happens with this new Fed chair nomination and how that's going to play out with the Trump administration. And then lastly, the Epstein files, which have been kind of front and center of the Trump administration in one of his campaign promises. It's something that we've always been interdependent on, hoping for that there would be some arrests, there would be all kinds of shakeup happening within the deep state, the administrative state, and we really haven't seen that. So if we're giving Trump a score as far as his performance goes, really, I would say it's like a 7. And he doesn't even give us anything. There's been no real breadcrumbs or any real successes. It just seems to be a lot of lip service surrounding the administration right now. Now, who knows what's going to happen? I think this is a big year for a shakeup, but I just hope that he doesn't soften his positions because he's trying to preserve the midterms, because that will give us another year of basically lip service and, cucking to, all the other countries' needs versus the needs of the American people. Now, I'm going to be having some debates. I'm going to go try to capture some debates from a couple candidates and people that are here, talk about what they are doing here, what they're about, what their vision is for Oregon, how they're going to be benefiting it, to try to inform you as much as possible. So I apologize. We are on a kind of a remote basis in regards to getting this over the airwaves and on the show, but we're going to do the best that we can, and I'm just going to try to get a couple little short clips for the next segment so you guys are able to feed all the people that weren't able to be here are able to get an idea of what this event was like. And like always, if you do want to get involved, it's really important. The Western Liberty Network, despite my grievances with how they're handling this governor's debate, overall, I do think that they're a really good organization. They're great for people that don't know what to do, that want to get involved, that don't know how to do it. So aside from just becoming a PCP, you can get involved in the Western Liberty Network. to get educated on how the process works. And now it's not always the traditional process and the traditional pathways to go. There are other avenues to do that, but they definitely give you a lot of support in future candidates and campaign building, fundraising, how to do it, how to go about it, how to navigate within the legalities of being authentic and things like that. So Richard Burke's the executive director, great guy, but you guys can go to westernlibertynetwork.org and check it out. Reach out to them, get involved. You know, even if you're thinking about running for something like a school board or a mayor of your small town or something of that sort, it's a very impactful group that I think would be overall very, very helpful for you. So definitely want to check them out. I'm going to try to get Jeff Krupp from Coffee Klatch on here to talk about a little bit with what he sees going on. And we're going to dig into these candidates pretty hard. I'm very curious to see how this governor debate is going to go. It's the first governor debate for this cycle for the Republicans. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out, especially given Christine Drazen's not here and David Medina aren't here, which I think, you know, are the two wild cards in regards to how this thing will play out. So it's not quite everything that we would expect, but, you know, things kind of start slow as we get into this political cycle. So that's really exciting to see that. And I'll give you guys a play-by-play in regards to where that's going to be, how that plays. I'll see if I can maybe grab some audio. I think it's happening later before I do have to get this show up very soon in order for all this stuff to happen and everything like that. So that's something that I want to talk about. Trump obviously nominating the Kevin Warsh for the Fed chair. I'm indifferent about it. I don't know much about Kevin, but his formal announcement, he just said that he named him, and that's great. We'll see what what happens to that. Are they going to get the rate cuts that we need? Are we really going to have this golden economy that he's been promising and talking about for a long time? Now, I don't think he's the end-all, be-all, but he's been battling the current chairman for over the last year to lower interest rates. In August, he demanded Powell to leave, but the chairman refused to go because, as you know, the Federal Reserve actually is not have anything to do with the federal government. But Powell he's been there since 2011. Then Barack Obama was later nominated as the Fed chair. Later nominated him as the Fed chair. 2017, President Trump replacing it with Janet Yellen, as you guys remember that. Powell's faced legal heat as well. Anna Paulina Luna, who's killing the game. If you haven't followed or seen Anna Paulina Luna, she is amazing of the things that she's doing in Congress. She's referring Powell to the Department of Justice for alleged perjury in relation to his crazy $2.5 billion reference to the cost of renovating banking cartels in D.C. headquarters. Importantly, the Federal Reserve is not federal. There's no reserves, and it's not a bank. So the corporate conglomerate of the global shareholders, a banking cartel and financial entity, which is above nation states. So that's very important to recognize when we see things like when Kate Brown was ignoring the grievances of people, and Tina Kotek basically seems like she's above the law, and she's not even really listening to anybody, as it seems, that's on the ground. She doesn't even resonate with her voters that well. She just kind of capitulates to this idea of things that the other states that are doing to kind of follow suit with that. And that really comes down to that outside of nation state system that we talk about all the time. Who do these guys serve? Who are their masters? But make sure to check me out on X at Noncompliant AF. You can go to noncompliantamerica.com, search all the streaming platforms for Noncompliant America, and you're listening to Joshua Michael, KSLM, 1220 AM, 104.3 FM. Check us out. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just given time, we have to continue on. I'm having a couple of people that I want to interview that just aren't available right now. So apologize for that, but stay tuned. We are going to have kind of an off-grid podcast that has all the interviews kind of compiled into one podcast. That'll be available. You can go to noncompliantamerica.com or follow me on X at noncompliantaf to see some of those more in-depth interviews. You know, a lot of people have a lot of things to talk about, and we want to be able to platform all of their information as much as possible. I do have Suzanne Gallagher coming on the next segment, so I just want to let you know that is coming up, and she will be broadcasted. I love Suzanne. She's amazing. She's done great work for Oregon and the Oregon schools and the parents and parents' rights and education. It's absolutely amazing and essential that any parent at any school district is capable of doing this. So just want to give a quick shout out to her for that, and her interview is going to be following this segment. But I want to dive in a little bit more with the political climate and how important this particular governor's race is, and just the action committees that are happening within the state of Oregon. And we do have a legitimate chance. I absolutely believe that we have a legitimate chance to get a Republican, and we just don't want any Republican. We don't want some traditional milquetoast Republican that's just going to give us lip service and continue to do the bidding against the people of Oregon. We have to find somebody that's going to actually take our state back, represent us, listen to our grievances, and have some common sense legislation and common sense leadership that's really brought forth into the state. There's an opportunity, especially with the voter rolls getting cleaned up. Now, I wouldn't hold my breath that Tobias Reed's actually going to do something like that. But if we hold their feet to the fire with all this momentum, with the tax bill that Ed Deal is getting put forth on the ballot this year, that he was helping repeal that tax bill and forcing a vote on it, there's a lot of momentum, and it's not time to sit down. It's going to be a wild summer. They're ramping up all the illegals. And the protesters, I've seen some protesters popping up everywhere yesterday. Yesterday on the 30th was the National No Work Day, I guess, whatever. I don't know if any of you guys noticed. I didn't really notice. There was no change in the processing of my life. So liberals and leftists and activists in that area obviously aren't making that big a difference. So nobody really cares about their job. If they want to take the job off, they're most likely on some type of social welfare program anyway, where they're not actually making a difference. But there definitely wasn't a difference. My packages still got delivered. Things still happened. Business went on as usual. So congratulations to you guys. But here's the thing. It's not really about trying to make an impact. They have to keep coming up with things for their activist groups to do to where they feel relevant. And this is, I think, going to be a real problem for the state of Oregon and all over the country, for the fact that Trump is not engaging them the way that he should be. I absolutely think that he should declare the Insurrection Act. We know that he's already pulled back in Minnesota and supposedly made a deal with Tim Walz. Don't know if that's going to be a thing or how much standing that's going to do, but it's just more lip service. I think he should take the gloves off, let them call him a dictator, do what he's going to do, and sew a lot of those networks up, because they're extremely organized, they're extremely hostile, and they have an agenda. And they are going to initiate a coup and overtake all the major blue cities of this entire country if he does not take hold of it now. But it's the same remnant that he had in the first administration. It's the same gripe that I had during the first administration. It's like, he's doing all these great things. He's saying all these great things. But the reality is that there's not a lot of follow through. Now, it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do. Being named on the Epstein list, there's a lot of people that are just like, okay, well, this is our president now, and it's fracturing further the momentum into these midterms. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to transpire with that. There might be some chess move happening that we don't know about, but we want to see action. The American people need to see action. We're getting absolutely destroyed out here financially, socially, everything else. Yes, we have some little wins, but I mean, we need some victories. And we have a very short window to do it, because I don't know how much faith we have in any incoming president or potential nominee that may be a Republican president into the future. But there's no reason we need to wait, because we're up against the clock. The Agenda 2030, the BRICS nations, the banking cartels, and the stronghold that they have on this country and the rest of the world is only flexing harder right now. And it's only going to allow us to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, if there's some master plan, the Nasara money supply change, and we're going back to a gold-backed currency, if that's in the works, that's great. If Trump's going to roll out a crypto-based system that runs off the blockchain, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's getting further and further and deeper into a tyrannical infrastructure, and the global elites would love that. They'd love to have control over what you can buy, what you can do, how you can do it, and everything else. There's places happening in different parts of the world right now where they have the 15-minute cities, and they tax you every time that you want to leave the region. You have to pay money to leave. And they're trying to create a control grid system. And I think there'll be, just like they did with COVID, there's going to be a huge incentivized push, because they'll break the banking system so much. People are going to be desperate, just like they were desperate to go out to ball games, desperate to go out to restaurants and stuff. So they took the shot. They sacrificed their life and their health so they can have the conveniences. So what's going to happen when your conveniences suddenly go away and things aren't as easy to obtain as they used to be, or shipping takes twice as long as it used to? Those conveniences are going to go away, but they're going to introduce new conveniences that if you want to keep them, you need to do this. If you want to keep them, if you want to live the life that you used to live, you have to do these things. And that's the danger of this new crypto-based system that they're trying to introduce. I still personally believe that, precious metals, tangible assets is the move that we're in right now, especially with the global conflicts going on. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Noncompliant America. We're here in the second segment, and I have Suzanne Gallagher. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
Yeah.
And we're here at the Western Liberty Network Conference. And so tell us, what have you been doing? I haven't seen you since a while, but when we first met was during COVID. At the 2020, you made the presentation, and I just remember a big write-up, and everybody was trying to speak at the Capitol. Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome, and I was so impressed with you. Why? Because you set up a stage. You had music for the presenters.
Yep.
To come on stage with music, and I love music, and I just thought, oh, this is the way it should be.
Right, and that was the whole premise of me getting into it. Is I have a obviously entertainment background and everything else, and so I was just like, okay, what can we do? How can I help? And where can I start? And that was kind of the beginning. But I just remember meeting you and so intrigued by your story with everything that you do, how just effective you are and who you've become as a person, and really inspiring. So it's really good to see you here finally.
Thank you.
And so what do you got cooking now? What's going on? I know you guys have grown exponentially.
So we started out this organization. I didn't found the organization. I was involved in a little kitchen cabinet that got together when they were choosing the name.
Yes,
was
and so what organization is it, just so the listeners know?
Parents' Rights in Education.
And the premise is restoring parental rights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Name the group for what it does.
Yes.
Not by who joins, because you don't want to limit who joins.
Exactly.
Right? Everybody can be a part of this. We have grandparents, we have young people, we have guys, we have gals. In fact, some of our strongest leaders are men. And I love it. These are dads.
Yeah.
Or they could be, recent empty nesters or recently retired. It doesn't matter if you have a passion for public education. And there's always this argument about, well, just pull your kids out. And usually that's stated by somebody who doesn't have children.
Right. Yeah, easier said than done.
Exactly.
Yeah. There are a lot of people doing it now, though.
I know, and I love it.
Massive increase in homeschooling, which I think is amazing.
I do.
And you guys are a resource. You also have resources for homeschooling on your website?
We have in the past, but we don't now.
You've done away
because
with
there's
that.
so many, really great resources, and people are discovering that, on the internet, all these different things.
Yeah.
That they can access, and we become less of an information resource and more action.
Sure.
And so a few years ago, we hired a media professional to help us, hone in on those kinds of things. And now what's so amazing is that because we were receiving all these phone calls from across the country.
Yeah.
One of my first was from an Iowa mom. Her daughter had been transitioned by the school district without her knowledge. She was invited to a meeting in the counselor's office, and her daughter handed her a 24-page letter on her daughter's birthday, senior year, her 18th birthday. Now you're tracking with me here?
Yeah.
Nothing mom could do. She's reading through the list. She said, I got down to the bottom of the first page and I just couldn't read anymore. She was crying. She thought, what? You want to change your sex? This is a gal who had been a cheerleader, normal family, 4 children. Anyway, and that broke my heart. My husband listened to my interview with her because we were heading down to Corvallis to go to a girls' basketball game.
Yeah.
And so it was fine with her if he, listened in, and he was just appalled. And I'm telling you, that was like, 8 years ago? Iowa.
Wow.
Rural, not big city, K through 8 school and a high school. That was their school district.
That's insane. And that's happening all over the country. It's not just Oregon, it's not just California. These people are embedded, and personally I think that they're getting in, and you might have way more knowledge in this, but they get in through these grant programs in the counselors. Am I wrong?
You are not incorrect.
Yeah, and so
you are correct.
Most people don't know that the counselors themselves don't work for the school district. They work outside of the school district. So they have a different set of principles. It's kind of like a Trojan horse infiltration campaign, getting to these kids and getting around them. And as a counselor, as a position of authority, they're more impressionable, the youth, and there's a huge discrepancy. So who's behind these grant programs?
Okay, so the whole topic of counseling has changed over the years. Before you were even born, Joshua, the counselors, their main purpose was to help kids apply for college. Yeah. That was what they did. Mm-hmm. That's what a counselor did.
I feel like that's what a counselor did when I was a kid.
But probably.
Yeah.
Okay, now, not only are counselors responsible, they're responsible for social-emotional learning. Social-emotional learning is bringing in the whole psychiatric, psycho-analysis side of it.
Yeah.
Which really is none of their business. Evaluating students behind parents' backs. And I remember when my kids were in school, our oldest is 50, I learned that one of them had been in the counseling office, and they were adjudicating an altercation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's appropriate. But I was never informed, and I thought that's really odd. how come I didn't know about this? I heard about it from my child.
Yeah.
But the school did not contact me and say, hey, we met with. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so even then, but now, have you heard of this no touching?
I have not. No.
You haven't?
No.
Oh. Okay, do you want to learn what this is about? Because I think it's really important. We put out a newsletter a couple weeks ago about
What?
Just trying to make you squirrel.
So, what are you doing here? Obviously, the premise of this place is to educate people,
Right.
Candidates, give them tools, necessary templates to run for office, right?
Right.
Do you have have you been following the governor primaries? Do you have a favorite? Do you have any suspicions on
In
where this
Oregon?
at? We want to hear this.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say anything about that.
Come on!
Well, the reason is, okay, so let me just say this, guys. When you're deciding on who you're going to vote for, who you're going to support during the primary, because voters weigh in during the primary.
Correct.
And if you are not registered as a Republican, here's, first thing you got to do, register as a Republican.
Yeah.
So that you can vote in the primary. A lot of people think, well, I'd rather be more independent, I really don't, I don't want to associate with a party, but the main reason to do that is to vote in the primary. Because because that primary winner then goes on to fight in the general election. And so we want to pick the right one.
So the best thing to do is for people to make sure that they're registered Republican,
Yep.
and they get to vote in the primary
Yep.
of whomever they want.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so who is probably going to win the general? That's the second thing you have to analyze.
Right.
I think you're with me on this strategy. In a recent presidential election, I did not support the person who won initially.
Yeah.
But I saw the huge crowds that were coming to see him and hear him, and they resonated with that candidate. That's the candidate who can win.
Exactly.
That is the one.
Which then brings me to another thing, and
Okay.
you don't have to respond. I know you probably won't. Why isn't David Medina here then?
I believe he was invited to this. I don't know because I'm not on the.
Yeah.
board.
No, I understand.
But I don't know why he's not here.
Yeah.
Maybe he was invited and he was unable to come. So.
Okay.
And here's the thing. So, just on that note alone, we want to make sure that we have proper information before we make judgments about anything.
Absolutely.
And so you always have to have, that caveat that maybe he had to, go to his daughter's ballet recital or something. I don't know. He doesn't have children.
Sure.
But he had another appointment.
Another appointment. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Suzanne.
I don't think it was dissed. I don't think it was. I doubt that. I think he was probably. I think they were probably all invited.
Okay.
But this is not a debate today.
Oh, they're not having a debate.
No, it's a forum.
Oh, a forum.
Because the organization that sponsors this event is a 501c3.
Okay.
And so they're very careful about getting too
Meddling.
involved politically.
Sure. I understand.
And I certainly understand that.
Okay. Well, I guess
So
I was
that-
misinformed then. Thank you for correcting that.
But we want to invite people to our website.
Yes.
Our latest
Where can people find
initiative
you?
is this: opt out, protect your children's education. We have a full page with all kinds of downloadable PDFs, sample letters to send to your school board, testimonies, everything you need to make this happen in your school district. Recently, the Supreme Court passed a ruled on a contentious debate about accessing your child's information at school, being involved, all of that, and they ruled in favor of parents. Now, this is the 7th time that's happened in the history of our country. So it's not new. You have rights, and you want to establish that with your school board. So go on our site, check it out. It's on the main page. You have to scroll down. I'll leave that with you. But opt out. Doesn't cost you anything. We want you to join us. We need a representative in every school district in this nation.
Okay.
Started in Oregon, but it certainly doesn't stop there.
parentsrightsandeducation.com/opt-out.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joshua.
I love it. Thank you,
Appreciate
Suzanne, for your
so
time. I
much.
appreciate it.
Thank
Good to see you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. You can't hear the filler music, but it's intro, outro. This will be on the radio today, so.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'll hopefully get your message out. About 60, 100,000 people in the Willamette Valley area. So,
Wow. I love the Willamette Valley.
All right, folks, welcome back. Last segment, Joshua Michael, Noncompliant America. Thank you guys very much for joining today. We are on site at the Western Liberty Network Conference, talking to all kinds of people from all over the state with one common goal, and that is get on the offensive, activate groups, Republican groups, and just activist groups that are interested in preserving the sanctuary of this actual state and not let it be taken over by communists. And I have Roman Rogers, I say that right? I have Roman Rogers with me today. He's with Take Back Oregon, relatively new organization, but they focus on election integrity, active citizenship, Oregon industries, education excellence, fiscal responsibility, deregulation, and government, my favorite, government shrinkage, which I think is the entire format that if you can open up the government to allow the people to self-govern, I think a lot of the issues and a lot of the problems, they'll work themselves out. But thanks very much, Roman, for being here. I
Thanks
appreciate
for having
you.
me. Wouldn't that be nice if that was a prerequisite for those candidates running for office?
You know,
government shrinkage.
These are things that I think that the Republican Party should adopt, right? Smaller government, self-preservation, education excellence, all those things. I know we were talking to Suzanne Gallagher earlier about opting out of different DEI programs within school systems and how to do that. Very resourceful, impactful, a lot of activist groups surrounding education, and there's a lot of school board meetings and things that are going on. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get here? What are you guys up to? What are your future plans? And
Well, I'm a father, and that's kind of, that's the reason.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I would like to secure Oregon for my kids, grandkids.
Yeah.
I'd like to leave it as my grandparents left it. I'm fourth generation Oregon. Born and raised. I moved away. I was in Vancouver, Washington for several years, and now I'm back in Klamath Falls, Oregon. But I want to preserve what my grandparents showed me and shared that love for this state and the great resources ultimately, right? We don't need taxes to provide for those fundamental things that a society needs: public safety, education, and transportation. Now, that's where the shrinking government comes in, right? Government should be meant to provide minimal things in your life.
Well, that's what it was set up for.
Yes.
It wasn't meant to be bureaucrats. I heard an interesting statistic the other day. In the Oregon education system, the entire budget, only 36% of it, 36 or 26% of it is the actual teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So where does all the other money go? It's bureaucracies, it's administrators, it's all this other garbage that we don't need. But we also see how things in children are getting left behind because, one of the lower paying jobs is being a teacher. There's no motivation to do that. They could cut out, 20% of the budget of the education system, increase the teachers, and I think they're going to get better quality teachers. They're going to be happier to be there. They're going to be less inclined to be susceptible to outside influence or outside money potentially driving them. And so that goes in tandem with one of my favorite points on here, which is a smaller government. We don't need the government overseeing everything. We're seeing the difficulties that happen within California. The Palisades people, I think they built one house, or at least started one house a year later, and we're seeing that because it's tied up with permitting and nonsense like that. So
I'll dive back in to kind of what we're doing right now.
Correct.
Active citizenship. We're wanting to promote petitions. There's some petitions that are, the deadline for them is July 2nd.
And where can people go to sign? Do they have to sign them in person?
You have to sign them in person. Okay. There's going to be some Super Saturday events, so I'll name off the petitions. There's IP 37, which is the end vote by mail, one citizen, one vote. There's End the Death Tax, which is killing the family farm. How many times do we need to tax a person and their family and their descendants? And we've seen that in Europe.
Yeah.
There's Vote Before Tolls, and then there is Let Us Paddle. So I'm trying to bring resources together for all of those different petitions, trying to build teams that are willing to go and hold pop-up events, right? Set up a canopy, set up a table, engage with people. We need locations that are friendly to that.
Yeah.
So if anybody has locations, they can find us at takebackor.com. And my number's there, my contact's there. Reach out to us. We'll engage. We'll provide those resources for those people that want to do petitions.
And more importantly, these petitions are things that apply to all Oregonians. It's not partisan in any way. These are things that everybody could get behind.
So small government. John Adams once said it would be a hard government that would tax its citizens 1/10 of their income.
Yeah.
Right now, we're taxed on average $1 out of every $4. Not to mention the other taxes.
That means if you're, for every month of your paycheck, you're working for a week just for taxes.
Yeah.
So the first week of your job that you have is literally just going to taxes.
This is not a Democrat issue,
crazy.
A Republican issue. When we look at that, right?
Yeah.
It just makes sense. We need to get back. We need to engage in politics.
Yeah.
Politics will choose you, right? You pay taxes.
Yep.
So politics has already chosen you.
Well, and it deems to exist whether you choose to not acknowledge it. It's still going to be there.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love this. I think I love seeing relatively new. This is something new. I'm
month and a half old.
Yeah, so you're a month and a half in and you're already hitting the ground running. You're here getting involved, meeting some great people, learning some different things, and getting some people. Have you spoken with Ed Deal at all?
Yes, I have.
Okay, Ed Deal, he's got a lot of momentum with that no tax.
No tax. I was a part of that. I was actually one of the co-petition captains in Klamath County. That's where my home is. The funny thing about politics is it leads you to people.
Yeah.
So you get conversations with people. And a lot of this, Take Back Oregon, it's not my own idea organically. It's conversations with community and with people because I was at a petition table. So, but yes, and I'm hoping the best for Ed, and I am so encouraged by what he did with that no tax petition. And consider this, in 7 days, 120,000 Oregonians signed a petition and agreed on something. When was the last time in Oregon that 120,000 people agreed on anything?
Absolutely, and that is the biggest hope, and that's why I say for anybody that has any doubts and is like, oh, Oregon will never turn red, Oregon will never get better, anything else, that's a defeatist mindset that we don't need, that we're overtaking. I was talking with Dave Brown about it earlier, and it really comes down to men leading the family and deciding to take charge of looking at the best interest and actually standing up and being men, and we need more of that. And I commend you completely, Roman, for all that you do, and I really appreciate your time, and thanks for taking the time.
Do you have a minute?
Yeah, we got one more minute.
There's hope. I want to leave with hope. U of O football team knelt for prayer in Autzen Stadium. That's a college that was plagued by armed robbery, car theft, drug distribution, assault. They had to wear ankle monitors when they went on the road to play. Culture is changing. And out of this next generation, we find our next leaders that lead us with courage, strength, and conviction. So that's a call to the next generation.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you, Roman. I appreciate it. Make sure you go to Take Back Oregon or follow him on X at Take Back Oregon. And the website is takebackor.com. Thanks for joining. Hope you guys had a great day. And we'll see you next week.